Considering, welcome to the MS&Me Radio Network, a division of the Multiple Sclerosis Global Support Network. The following program broadcast is an original creation by the broadcast entity. Discussion within the following broadcast should be used for informational purposes only and is not a substitute for professional medical advice or consultation. Before considering application of any broadcast content in the following program, please consult your healthcare provider. If you feel you are having a medical emergency, please contact your local health services for immediate assistance. MS&Me Media and the Multiple Sclerosis Global Support Network do not guarantee or warrant the accuracy of information in the broadcast to follow. The Multiple Sclerosis Global Support Network provisions broadcast services to program hosts. Information discussed in the broadcast does not necessarily reflect the views, opinions, or goals of the network and are solely those of the show broadcast host. Should you wish to host a broadcast, please visit our website at msmemedia.com and submit a request to become a program host. We thank you for listening to the MS&Me Radio Network. Enjoy the show.
Hey everybody, thank you so much for joining me this week here on MS&Me Radio, a division of the Multiple Sclerosis Global Support Network. Again, my name is Anisha, and you are tuning in to MS Journey, where this week we are going to talk about living with and managing multiple autoimmune diseases. There are just so many people sometimes that feel like they're not sure about it, or, is it possible to have more than one autoimmune disorder? How does it happen? Why does it happen? We're gonna talk about that, okay? I'm gonna take that on this week, and we'll discuss that, because I definitely want you guys to know who are in this situation that you're definitely not alone. There's many of us that are some of my fellow radio hosts that are in the same boat, and we have many people within our MS&Me family that are in this situation as well, and we do definitely want you to know that you are not alone, okay? One of the first things, I want to back up for just a minute and just give you guys an update. I am 7 days out from my first half dose of Ocrevus, and everything is going well. I can honestly say that I have not had any type of reaction of any sorts, other than I am tired. That is the only reaction that I am having. I've had nothing else. I'm just extremely tired. That's it. Okay. So just to update you guys on how everything's going with Ocrevus with that first half dose, things are going great. And next week I'll get that second half dose, and we'll be trucking right along so we can get to the 6-month mark after the second half dose and go for the gold, hit that full dose at one time, okay? But everything's going well. So I wanted to make sure to update you guys on that. All right, let's hit this topic, all right, with living with and managing multiple autoimmune diseases. Now, the question that many people ask is, how is it possible if you have MS? How can you have anything else? Anything's possible. That's the answer to that question, as bad as it sucks, okay? Remember me, guys, telling you guys back in the beginning that sometimes in life, or quite often in life, there comes those times when we have to embrace the suck. Sometimes this is one of those times, okay, when you have to live with multiple autoimmune diseases. It's all about embracing the suck, okay? You can look at it in a positive way, which is kind of the way I choose to look at it. Does it suck? Yes. I embrace the suck, and I keep a positive attitude about it, and I laugh. And if anybody's on my personal, page on Facebook, I'm always sharing memes and, just laughing. Laughter's the best medicine, man, just to, keep yourself up and moving. But yes, it is very possible. And honestly, because you're living with one autoimmune disease, you are more than likely the possibility of you having or developing another one is very high. Okay? It is very high. Now, I'm going to talk about a few of these, okay? Just a few. Lord knows I don't have time to go into a whole lot of them, okay? Because, the show is only 27 minutes long. But I am going to talk about some that I think you guys, that I've seen kind of the most that people have questions about, and that they feel like I just can't do this, and I want you to know that you can, okay? And some of these that I'll talk about: lupus, of course, multiple sclerosis, Sjogren's syndrome, rheumatoid arthritis, fibromyalgia. Many people do not realize that fibromyalgia is indeed it's autoimmune, okay? Hashimoto's, I know that's a weird name for something, isn't it? Because I've always heard people say Hashimoto's, and I'm like, huh? Yeah. But yes, Hashimoto's. For diabetics type 1, that is autoimmune, okay? Also mixed connective tissue disorder, and also celiac disease, okay? That's another one that's autoimmune as well, okay? So the first thing that I'll talk to you guys about is that mixed connective tissue disorder, because I'm not really tackling them in like order of severity or anything like that. It's not like that. It's just more for explaining them, because for some people you'll kind of hear the doctor say, oh wow, you have a mixed connective tissue disorder, and you hear it so fast that you're just like, what are you talking about? Because it's just said so blunt, that it doesn't register, okay? But what mixed connective tissue disorder is, it's features of lupus, systemic sclerosis, which is otherwise known as scleroderma, polymyositis. They all tend to overlap, okay? It doesn't necessarily mean that you have lupus. It doesn't mean that you have scleroderma. It doesn't mean that you have polymyositis, okay? What it means is that you have symptoms of each, okay? And everything's overlapping. So that's why it's called, that mixed connective tissue disorder is called an overlap disease. That's why it's called that, okay? Now, some of the things that go along with mixed connective tissue disorder: Raynaud's phenomenon, okay, where the fingertips will be really white, okay, joint pain, various skin abnormalities. It can be, different rashes, things to that effect, but there's skin abnormalities that are involved. Muscle weakness. Think about that. Muscle weakness. What do you deal with too with multiple sclerosis? Muscle weakness, okay? And also, mixed connective tissue disorder can lead to problems with the internal organs, okay? That can develop with mixed connective tissue disorder. Now note, people with systemic lupus, there can be that problem with the organs, okay? So it's important that people realize what mixed connective tissue disorder is. That's that definition that I just gave you, okay? And that is, it's got features of systemic lupus, systemic sclerosis, which is scleroderma, and polymyositis, okay? And then again, Raynaud's, joint pain, skin abnormalities, muscle weakness, and then it can also lead to problems with the internal organs. Note, it does not have to be some of all for a diagnosis of mixed connective tissue disorder. It doesn't have to be each and every one of those categories you hit, okay? It could be possibly 2 of the 3, something to that effect, that doctor feels that you fall into that category, okay? But it is important that if you do fall into the mixed connective tissue disorder category. Why so? The reason why is because you already know that you need your neurologist, okay, or your MS specialist. Then you're going to need a rheumatologist, because guess what? They deal with anything like, Raynaud's and, the joint pain, looking at the blood levels, things of that nature. Also, you're going to need a dermatologist for those skin abnormalities when we're talking about specialists, and then with internal organs, if something starts to go wrong, if it's something with your kidneys, you may end up needing to see a nephrologist. If it's something with your heart, a cardiologist, So you got to make sure that as educated as you can be with any type of diagnosis that you get, because if anything happens, you want to make sure that you and your doctor are on the same sheet of music, okay? To ensure that you are getting to all the subspecialists that you may need. And every specialist is on board, and they're all talking and they're all communicating, and you are communicating with them in regards to your medication, your treatment plans, physical therapy, occupational therapy, whatever else it is that they may feel that you need, okay, to help you to get through, okay? Communication with your doctors is very key, very much so, all right? Now, another one of those autoimmune diseases, Hashimoto's, okay? Again, that's that name that I remember being like, oh, wow, that's interesting. I'm going to look that up, okay? Now, what Hashimoto's is, it is also, again, your own immune system. It attacks your thyroid, okay? It attacks your thyroid. Now, that little area that you have right below, well, for men, it would be the Adam's apple. My voice is kind of deep, but I ain't got no Adam's apple, okay? I am a female. But, the little area that kind of dents in at your throat, that area will kind of, come out and swell. It can be face swelling, that kind of stuff, because that area is attacking that thyroid, okay? One of the biggest causes for hypothyroidism is Hashimoto's, okay? So you want to make sure that if there's an issue there, if you're noticing things there's unexplained weight gain or there's unexplained weight loss, these are things that you want to make sure that you are communicating to your doctor. That's to include your general practitioner or your primary care manager, that doctor, on to your MS specialist or your neurologist. If you have whomever your doctors are, you want to make sure that you're letting each of them know and see what it is that is going on with you, because guess what? 2 heads, 2 sets of eyes, even 4 are always better than 1. Okay, please remember that, because Hashimoto's is also, it's another autoimmune disease that I see quite often that people are living with also along with MS, okay? Another one that is becoming more common, because about 1 in 100 people are living with celiac disease, okay? Now, with celiac disease, the ingestion of gluten leads to damage to the small intestines, okay? That's what happens with that. And by gluten, what we mean by that is wheat, barley, and rye, okay? Now, people that have celiacs, I have a really good friend of mine that has celiacs, and if they get a hold of that, it makes them sick. I mean, I'm here to tell you, it makes them really, really sick. So that ingestion of that, leads to that damage to that small intestine. So with celiacs, that diet is going to change. That diet is going to become gluten free, okay? Where there's no wheat, there's no barley, there's no rye, okay? But also note that when they say ingestion, people also need to keep in mind that sometimes in makeup, in shampoos, in lotion, and things like that you place topically on your body, they contain wheat, barley, or rye. So if you are living with celiac disease, it is very important that you also perhaps ask to see an allergist, okay? One who does things like patch testing and things like that, so that they can also talk to you about different products that are more user friendly for you, that don't contain wheat, barley, or rye. That's to include your shampoo and makeup. Or you can be like my girlfriend Tanja. She's amazing. That girl will be like, I stand and I look at everything, and if it has it in there, I'm not buying it, okay? Lipstick, makeup, all of it. It can contain gluten, okay? So it's very important that if you have celiacs, that you also not think about not only what you ingest, but you also think about what you place on your body topically, okay? Because that too can contain wheat, barley, or rye. Also, about 1 in 100 people now are, that's what researchers think is the numbers, are living with celiac disease, okay? And it's also important to remember that the later the age of diagnosis with celiacs, it's the greater chance of developing another autoimmune disorder, okay? And that's how all of these things work. It's like the later that, it's caught, your own immune system has just been haywire and it's been doing its own thing. So guess what? It's been attacking many, many things unbeknownst to you. So that's what happens, okay? Is that your own body says, hey, guess what? I got you. I'm going to do whatever I want. I'm going to attack your endocrine system. I'm going to attack your digestive system. I'm going to hit you over here with your, musculoskeletal system. It just takes off. This is how this happens, okay? This is what I feel is so important for people to understand when they ask the question, how is it that you can have MS with something else, with another autoimmune disorder? This is how, okay? Now, another one that I definitely want to talk with you guys about. Let me kind of fast forward a little bit. Diabetics, type 1, okay? For diabetes type 1, that is considered autoimmune, okay? So once again, autoimmune, there's many people who are diabetics that have multiple sclerosis, okay? So of course they have an endocrinologist that they're seeing, with their diabetes, okay? And then also with that, their protocol is going to be a little bit different on how things are treated for them if they're having a flare with their MS, because guess what? You don't want to give someone that is on with MS like steroids, or you can, but you're going to monitor them and their sugar levels very close, because steroids run up the sugar level, okay? So you definitely are going to keep a very close eye, okay? And one thing that's done now is, like, after they run a course of steroids, in a person that's diabetic, and say that flare is still a little bit out of whack, one thing that doctors are trying to do, or that they do is try to place the person on Acthar gel, okay? Because that doesn't contain any steroids, because again, you want to make sure that you're keeping that sugar level down and controlled for that person, because the last thing that you want is for them to start losing vision or anything like that, or a diabetic coma, anything of that sort. You don't want that to happen excuse me, because that's an additional comorbidity with having the diabetes on top of the multiple sclerosis, okay? So that's very important for people to remember that. Now, one of the other ones that I want to talk to you guys about is one that a lot of people don't understand it, okay? And that is fibromyalgia, all right? I have so many people say, I just don't understand, I know someone that has fibromyalgia and they act like it's the end of the world. Let me tell you something. It can be the end of the world. That crap is painful. It is absolutely painful, and again, compassion, and understanding will go a long way in helping you understand what the person is going through, and also helping that person that's living with it, because fibromyalgia is very, 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 very painful, okay? Fibromyalgia is characterized as a disorder with widespread musculoskeletal pain. It's accompanied by fatigue, sleep, memory, and mood issues, okay? Sleep, fatigue, memory, mood issues. Let's think about that. Let's dissect that. All right. Say somebody's in a whole lot of pain. You're in so much pain that you can't even get to sleep, okay? Bam, there's that fatigue, okay? Then what happens when you aren't getting enough sleep, okay? You can't even think straight. There's the memory, okay? You can't remember anything, all right? Then what does that make you do? It puts you in a bad mood. It's like you don't want to be, but you absolutely can't help it. And it's all because all of these pressure points and trigger points throughout the body are just being hit, okay? They're being hit nonstop, and it is absolutely no joke, okay? Researchers believe that fibromyalgia amplifies painful sensations by affecting the way the brain processes those pain signals being sent from the brain, okay? Because think about it. Everything that happens in the body, it happens there at the brain, then it gets sent on throughout, okay? So when a person is not getting enough sleep, they're just fatigued, they're constantly tired, and just being in all that pain, that is just a perfect recipe for disaster. It's awful, okay? So fibromyalgia is definitely autoimmune, and I definitely want for people to know that. Now, there are a couple of things that coexist very often with fibromyalgia that I want people to know, because I was taught this where I go to for my health care. And I always promise them that what I've learned with them, that I would share it. Therefore, I am sharing it with you guys, okay? Now, one of those things that can coexist with fibromyalgia is irritable bowel syndrome, okay? IBS often coexist with fibromyalgia, okay? So if you're having some issues with your bowels, you're having a lot of pain, you might want to start trying to, take a look, get your journal, start writing stuff down, keeping track of how long this stuff is going on, okay? Because those two, they kind of work hand in hand. Another thing that coexists with fibromyalgia is migraines and other types of headaches. That's cluster headaches, any kind of headaches that, you can think of, they all, even the migraines, Lord have mercy, the migraines. You're in so much pain, your freaking head just hurts like crazy, okay? Also, something else that coexists with most often with fibromyalgia is interstitial cystitis or painful bladder syndrome. Remember that. Painful bladder syndrome, okay? Then that cystitis is inflammation of cyst, okay? Please remember that. Please remember that for women, because most often women are more often diagnosed with fibromyalgia than men. Am I saying that men don't live with fibromyalgia? No, I'm not, okay? They do. But most often, most common, it is women, okay? So that interstitial cystitis, think about that, ladies. If you're having some problems, with your cysts and things like that, you might want to think about that. IBS, migraines, are you in pain all over? Are you having some issues with cysts or painful bladder, okay? Also, another thing that coexists, this is the last one with that, is temporal mandibular joint disorders. That's TMJ. In other words, grinding your teeth, yike, that bites, it does, it sucks. TMJ is very painful. That's something else that can coexist with fibromyalgia. Because you're in so much pain, a lot of times you just do it, and then the pain ends up settling there, because some people are, when they do finally get to sleep, they're in so much pain that they're grinding their teeth while they're sleeping, okay? That's such an awful, awful thing to go through, okay? So even with that, guess what? If you're dealing with TMJ, you'll want to go see a dentist or a maxillofacial doctor that deals with TMJ. Okay, you would want to start talking to them if you've got some TMJ issues. Okay, with the interstitial cystitis or the bladder issues. Of course, if you're a woman, you're going to want to go see a gynecologist and start talking with them about that stuff, because again, the more the merrier, okay? Although this is not merry by any sense of the word, okay? It's just about making sure that you are talking and you are advocating for yourself, okay? To get all the best care that you can for yourself, okay? Because you can live and function within all of these things. Within all of these things you can, okay? Because even with fibromyalgia, there's medications now. Most of them are in the in the depression family that help, with the fibromyalgia pain, okay? But there's things that they have that can help with that, okay? And it's important, that you're talking, that you're communicating, that you're journaling things, you're writing it down, okay? And the more you know, the better. I can't tell people enough. Research, because it is so, so important, And that's like, I have a friend, she's like a sister to me, Jackie Kellums Graham. God love her. She is a diabetic, and, she, I just have never met a person with such a great, sense of humor. And like I said, she's like family to me, like family. Absolutely amazing. And when I say that she's on top of her stuff, she's had in upwards of, many eye surgeries because of her diabetes. You know what I mean? And I mean, she's just the best mom and Mimi and friend that anyone could ever have, and she just does what she has to do within all of this, and she finds different tips and tools of things that she can from listening to these shows that are about MS. But she realizes that, guess what, no matter what you have, we're going to give you something because we understand what it's like to be chronically ill. Okay, we understand. We are right there and we get it. Okay. And it is important that you know that you're not alone, because all of these things where you feel like you're all by yourself, you're isolated, you just have no one, it's just you. Guess what? You're not. We are here. We get it. We absolutely get it. Any of you guys are more than welcome at any time. You can reach out to me on Facebook at Anisha Hankins, anytime. Just talk to me. I don't mind, because I want you to know that you are not alone. And to Jack, girlfriend, I want you to know I love you. I appreciate you, because I know you have not missed a show yet, And honey, I'm behind you 200% on everything that you go through with that diabetes, okay? Just like I am walking right beside every person that's living with multiple sclerosis and any of these other things like lupus, MS, Sjogren's, RA, rheumatoid arthritis, that's another one. That joint pain, it's important. If you're having pains with your joints and swelling and things are looking like sausages and not looking right, get into that doctor. Don't wait. Don't wait. It is important that you stay on top of your health care and that you are your own best advocate. You guys, you can do it. I am with you. I am with you 100%. No matter how down I may be, guess what? We are not out. We are in this fight together. I love you guys so, so much. And I'm looking forward to next week's show, where I'll talk to you guys about the second half of Ocrevus, because I will be having that. And I look forward to seeing you guys then. I love you guys so, so much, and have an awesome week. Bye-bye.